Coming up on Techzilla, Veronica Belmont stops by to shred and review Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock. Plus, we get our hands on the new Asus Eee PC. And totally sync up your Gmail, we'll show you the power of IMAP. In this week's episode, which is brought to you by Netflix, GoDaddy.com, and the brain that wouldn't die.
My eyes are deceiving me.
What's done is done, and what I've done is right. It's the work of science.
Welcome to Techzilla. I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Jessica Corbin.
And I have Freckles back here.
I was just noticing as he was like, you know, we were taking our marks, that he has a bunch of freckles back there. I was just wondering how he got those, that's all.
I don't know. They may have come with the baby. And by the way, never ever leave anything of importance that's electronic within peeing range of a small baby.
I think that that's a good rule of thumb. I'm not going to buck that idea.
No, no. When you have a child, just be careful what it can pee on. It can get really expensive.
We went from freckles to peeing children, and now we're going to go on to
autonomous vehicles. Yeah, robot cars took a big step forward this weekend as no less than 6 self-guided vehicles completed the DARPA Urban Challenge. Remember the DARPA Grand Challenge?
Totally.
This is like that. Well, you'll get it in a second. Carnegie Mellon's Tartan Racing won the $2 million contest with Boss.
Which is an appropriate name.
It's, well, you know what, it's like the guy that runs one of the Carnegie Mellon professors. It's intimately associated with robotics. He's a very manly guy. Big Red is a manly guy. And of course, Boss is a manly vehicle with, I guess, manly computers doing manly things.
Well, let me give a little bit more history
you should.
On this manly sport. So what is amazing is how far the competitors have come in 3 years. The original DARPA Grand Challenge had a grand total of 0 complete the off-road course. So that means in 3 years, they completed off-road navigation, and now the Urban Challenge is a 55-mile course of suburban and urban roads filled with human and other robot drivers.
Now, we should point out there are a lot of women, not just men, involved, and we tease the manly Boss vehicle for, it's just such a funny name, you know?
And it was painted pink.
No.
But that would be ironic and fun. Anyway, move on.
So rude. The speed is a whopping 14 miles per hour, but the vehicle did manage to obey all California driving laws, something most California drivers can't do, except, of course, for actually having a licensed driver at the wheel. And 14 miles an hour, that was about 20 minutes ahead of the second-place finisher from Stanford University.
Yeah. So this is the latest in a series of challenges from DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, best known for a little network that became the Internet.
Yeah, DARPA sponsored the first of these events in 2004 to spur development of unmanned military vehicles. The goal, says DARPA Director Tony Tether, is to, quote, remove soldiers from supply convoys and other vehicles in harm's way. Harm's way. That's in harm's way.
In
Great
harm's way.
Movie by Otto Preminger, and a wonderful idea. Anything that keeps more soldiers from getting shot at is a good thing.
Totally. So it's fun how they're making, like, you know, this great spectacle of entertainment and innovation, but it's going to ultimately be, you know, developed for a very worthwhile cause.
Well, it's basically like, here's $2 million. Let's get all the smart kids who want to come compete, you know, fighting over, basically, this is amazing. They're basically vehicles driving themselves through scary environments. I mean, California is the most horrible place in the world.
And I'm totally stoked, again, with how much progress they've made in only 3 years. Fast. How many are actually completing the event, and, you know, how many entries and all of it.
I figure by the time my kid gets to be 18, they won't even allow people to drive anymore.
No.
It'll be a sad day. I will be so sad.
All right, so a new line of super ultra portable PC laptops just came out, the Asus Eee PC, and Mr. Norton took it outside to see what it can do.
It's 2 pounds light, it's got a full keyboard tucked inside here, if a little squished, and a 7-inch screen. It's an interesting concept, and it's Asus's Eee PC 4G. We know a lot of you have been curious about this, and there's been a huge hype on the web about this. Like a lot of the PCs out there, the idea is you take a full operating system, some inexpensive hardware, and pack them all together into a very small portable unit you can use to do basic functions. Like, how about office applications, or web browsing, or, you know what, some basic games. And one of the interesting things about the way Asus set up the Eee PC is there's 40 pre-installed apps. They have the ability to add in more applications later on if you want to. You just go over to the settings menu and click. But right now, unless you're familiar with Linux command line and want to hit Control-Alt-T to pull up a command line window, you're not adding additional applications onto this. That's not so bad. They've got some basic applications in here under Internet, Work, Learn, and Play. The Play is pretty weak unless you count the ability to play audio and video as the bulk of what you might do for fun, but they have a full OpenOffice installation and, best of all, the Mozilla browser. The downside of this is the screen size, number one. 7-inch screen, 800 by 480 pixels, which gives you most of a web page on most sites, but if you've got sites that are running 10 by 7, a little bit's going to fall over the edge. There's the 900 megahertz processor inside of this, and the basic differentiation between this models and the more and less expensive models in the EPC line is A, the amount of memory on board, and B, the amount of onboard storage. In this case, 4 gigabytes of onboard storage, about half of which is taken up by the operating system installation. The 8G, which is going to be the top of the line model, will have 8 gigabytes of onboard storage and a gigabyte of RAM. This one has 512 megabytes of memory and 4 gigabytes of onboard storage. If you want to add more storage, you're going to take advantage of the little SSD MMC card slot on the side. There's no way to add storage internally, although there is an open memory slot. And if you buy one of these, I would suggest putting some more memory in. That would help the performance on this a lot. For the most part, the performance isn't too bad with the onboard applications. Because there's limited memory and there's limited storage, you don't want to get too many things running simultaneously, and you don't even want to open too many windows in Firefox. Another thing you want to watch out is for the keyboard. Sure, my hands are huge. I understand that, I accept it. It's going to take a couple weeks to get used to it, but even if you have smaller hands, it's not going to be easy.
I have the smallest hands in the entire office, and I even have a problem typing on this thing.
All in all, I like the idea of the EPC. I wish they'd launched with a less expensive version. Case in point, the onboard net camera on this doesn't work. Asus is waiting for Skype to come up with drivers. The Linux release feels a little 0.9 at times. For example, the battery monitor doesn't show how far your battery's charged when you're charged. It takes a little while to register when you unplug the battery charger. And quite frankly, it's Linux and not Windows XP. It's XP compatible, and they'll have an XP version later this year, but I think a lot of people are going to wish they had the adaptability or the usability of XP. You can use it with an external monitor. There's a ton of USB ports for external expansion. It's got Ethernet built in. The Wi-Fi is pretty good. The battery life, though, I think may be a sticking point. Not the most generously sized battery, which means they estimate 3.5 hours of battery life with intermittent Wi-Fi usage. When I had it connected to Wi-Fi full time, I got a little over 2 hours before the battery went. Interesting idea. Nice that they've got Linux support in here. It's usable. It's a little early adopter right now. I'd almost wait a little later on for some of the less expensive versions. I see a lot of people hacking these into home theater systems or playing around with them, or an inexpensive notebook you can take anywhere and not worry too much about using it. You gotta remember though, if you're going for the $400 version, definitely shop around because there's a fair number of companies out there with 15-inch, 12-inch notebooks that have more powerful processors for $100 to $200 more.
Coming up, is the latest version of Guitar Hero the most righteous? Find out what Mahalo Daily's Veronica Belmont has to say. But first, peep this. Our favorite microblogging tool, Tumblr, the short-form visual snippet log, where you can easily share fun stuff like photos, videos, quotes with friends, just got better. Tumblr 3.0 is out and offers some kick-ass new features set on a graphically groovier dashboard. The new and improved Tumblr has made 2 major video updates and now lets you post audio files. Then there's this thing they call channels, where you can share and collaborate with a group of people. Reminds me a little of, Pounce.com. It's really super cool, and oh, the archive is visually pretty now. So if you haven't already started your Tumblr, you're really missing out.
There's nothing wrong with this $100 laser printer, except that you can't buy the Turner cartridges locally. You gotta mail order them from the manufacturer, which means if you don't have an extra around the house, you're paying for overnight delivery or waiting days before you can use your printer again. We won't even get into the cost per page.
So our producer Neha Tawari got to spend the afternoon with Veronica Belmont rocking out with Guitar Hero 3. Let's see what they think of the latest version of the game.
Guitar Hero is back in black. Now, I'm a fan of the second installment, and I'm a little worried as to how Legends of Rock is going to stack up. Shredding with me today is Veronica Belmont, avid gamer and internet rock star. How's it going?
Very well, thanks.
Okay, so we're going to talk today a little bit about the third installment of Guitar Hero. First opinions?
Awesome. I've been playing it for a week straight. I can't get enough of it. It's so nice to have new songs to play, and it's fantastic.
Now I know that this game was produced by Neversoft versus Harmonix, who did part 2. Can you really feel the difference?
I mean, not too much. It's an updated version, which you would kind of expect for the next version of the game, obviously. But overall, aside from the new artwork and some of the new features, it doesn't feel too different from the last version.
With any music game, I think the set list, the licks, if you will, are the biggest thing. So how's the music in this?
I noticed there's a lot more pop songs, and a lot more of the songs are done by the original artist as opposed to, you know, covers like the other ones. Some of the covers, not so much with the good on the last version. So this one definitely has a more fun track list, at least to me.
So when there's a song by Axl Rose, it's actually Axl Rose.
It's Guns N' Roses all the way.
That's awesome. Now, speaking of legends, I hear that there are some cameos that happen in this game.
Yeah, you have to play against Slash, and you have to play against Tom Morello. Later in the game, you get the God of Rock, who's kind of like a Greek god. He's pretty hot. And then much later in the game, of course, you get your Grim Reaper again.
Okay, so why don't we get to shredding?
And we'll call our band Tech. One of the biggest complaints that they had in the last game was that the jump from medium to hard was crazy difficult. Like, even I can't get to most of the hard songs without really floundering in Guitar Hero 2. Right. But
it's that orange button.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's that one extra little guy on the end there. So in this version, I've heard they've smoothed over the gap a little bit more. I haven't actually played any of the hard tracks yet. I'm still going through the medium game. But that's nice to know that when you get up there, you're not going to hit too much of a roadblock.
Yeah, totally.
But in this one, you get to do a music video. Oh. So you're on the set of a music video later in the game, and that's pretty awesome.
Speaking of storytelling, do you feel that this game really incorporates that? Because that was a huge part of Guitar Hero 2, was the actual story.
Yeah, the actual backstory in Guitar Hero 3 seems to be a lot more involved than the last one. You actually see cutscenes that are animations. They look like the same animations done by the guy who did all the Gorillaz videos.
Right.
And so it definitely tells the story of your rise to fame. So here's the first list of songs. We start with Barracuda, we've got The Killers, Rage Against the Machine, and Foghat. I like The Killers, so let's
All right,
start
let's
with
do that. I mean, pretty current song too, which is great. And again, just a good thing to mention here is that career mode, big changes.
Yeah, you can do co-op career mode, which is definitely a lot more fun for people who want to play at home with their friends.
Right.
So you can progress together. You don't have to have separate careers, separate bands.
Yeah.
So I really like, that's probably one of my favorite features. So yeah, they changed all the shots in between the songs and the loading screens.
That's cool. I noticed that the set and the audience stuff is kind of similar. Did you notice a big change between graphics and animation?
The graphics on the characters is a lot more involved,
yeah,
but the audience still looks crappy.
Dark and shaded.
Activate your star power.
So that's something we have to do together is get star power and stuff. So it is really cooperative.
Yeah. The star power seems a little more easier to activate in this version as well.
Right.
You don't have to twist your whole body around like I usually do.
Yeah, you know what? I thought that was one of the big advances of this one that I noticed. I also understand that when you're playing in the battle mode, that you can actually mess up your opponent quite a bit.
Yeah. You can make some of their notes stuck, and you can jam their notes. It's really pretty funny to screw them up. I think it's a lot easier to hit a multiple succession of notes in a row. You're less likely to hit a bunch of other buttons on the screen when you're playing too, since they move the buttons around on the guitar.
Which I think is a huge advancement.
Another thing that they did is they're a little more forgiving with when you strum the strings.
Yeah.
In the last one, if you didn't hit it dead on, you missed the note, but that's not very realistic.
No, it's not.
I mean, if you're playing guitar, you still hit the note when you hit the string, just not maybe on tune. So, star power.
Woo! High five.
So I'm not a big fan of the whole air guitar thing, but that looked fun.
You might like Rock Band then. It's kind of like Guitar Hero, only it's got a whole bunch of instruments, including the drums.
Which you know I love. I would love to be the drummer. Anyway, for more on Veronica, check out her new project, Mahalo Daily, at daily.mahalo.com. And coming up, sync your Gmail everywhere. Google's finally added IMAP support. But first, here's Heather with her producer pick of the week.
This week, I bring to you a crazy band alert. Notorious MSG, their name is a parody on Notorious B.I.G., is a New York City-based trio of Chinese gangster rappers. They sing about girls, survival in the streets, and Chinese food. Formed in 2002 in the kitchen of Crazy Wok Chinese food restaurant, where they worked at the time, Notorious MSG consists of cooks, waiters, and dishwashers. Ringleader Hong Kong Fever, Down Low Main or D-Low, the Yellow Gigolo, Futomaki, and Funky Buddha. Some popular tracks include Egg Rollin', Dim Sum Girl, and Buddha Time. Check out the original Chinatown Bad Boys at notoriousmsg.com.
Okay, you use Gmail?
Yes.
You like Gmail?
Yeah.
Ever frustrated trying to get it to synchronize across like
Yes.
your phone and?
Yes, even with my BlackBerry, which you know I love. It took me forever. I had to call BlackBerry, I had to go behind the settings of Gmail to really sort it out, so yes.
Might not be able to hit quite as much with your BlackBerry, but one of the cool things is Google's finally added IMAP support for Gmail. This is good. The Internet, how do we say it? The Internet Message Access Protocol, I hate saying it, IMAP 4. And basically what it does is allow two-way communications between all of your different clients, whether it's Microsoft Outlook or Apple Email, anything that supports the IMAP protocol and sort of the mothership, the main server.
So you're saying that if I delete an email on my BlackBerry, it's actually going to transfer over to my .mail account and all those.
So if you star it or if you gather it into a folder, this is really cool. And it's also really easy to start. Obviously, you're going to need a client, right? So figure out what client you're going to use. You're going to go in your Gmail account and you're going to settings. And a lot of people, sad to say, have never actually been in the Gmail settings. So there's a bunch of stuff you can change in here. You care about forwarding and pop IMAP. And this is really hard. Enable IMAP, save changes, and then you're going to go to the configuration instructions.
Right.
And we actually have a link to those up on the web page, so you can go into whatever you can do it on almost any IMAP client. They've got a few set up that they're the most common email clients ready to go for you.
Right. And while we're talking about Google, the whole open social concept has been all over the net the last week.
Like
and
a
Google
meme.
insists that this collection of APIs is not the start of a Google-centric social network, but an easier way to build applications that work across different websites, a tool to make the web a more social place, or at least a more open for competitors to Facebook apps.
It's interesting. If you're curious, you got something to say on the whole open social concept, we're curious, kick us an email, techzilla@revision3.com.
All right, and coming up, get ready for your weekly dose of Code Red. But first, a tasty website nibble.
A nibble?
If you're a media-phile, take a look at Liveak.com. This site resembles YouTube, but you won't find any dramatic chipmunks here. Still in beta, Liveak.com is a different type of news source where visitors can search and view videos from a plethora of networks. There are also plenty of filters, making it family and kid-friendly. The site also gives registered users an opportunity to upload their citizen-made news videos, participate in chat rooms, and post your say clips where you sound off on a hot issue. The next time you want to know more about Afghanistan or even Britney Spears, check out Liveak.com. Sponsoring this episode of TechZilla is Netflix. If you like high def, you can get both HD, DVD, and Blu-ray movies and shows. Get a free trial of them by signing up through a site they set up just for us at netflix.com/TechZilla. And now it's time for Code Red. So backing up anything on your computer can be a real pain in the tuchus. But with MozBackup, you'll never have to give a second thought on saving an online profile for Firefox, Thunderbird, SeaMonkey, and the Mozilla Suite. This free utility, and mind you, it's not an extension, can back up your bookmarks, mail, contacts, history, extensions, and cache, then saves them to a file. Remember to create a new name if you don't want to overwrite the last profile you backed up. And best of all, you can restore all that info at the click of a button. And as of now, MozBackup only works on the Windows OSs, so sorry Mr. Mac and Lady Linux, the authors promise the next version will incorporate more browsers, and if you're a current user of Mozilla, I would jump on MozBackup stat. Now, I believe we got some emails. Patrick?
As a matter of fact, we've got quite a few email questions.
Excellent. So first up reads, I archive my files regularly, so I burn many DVDs. Is it true that the slower you burn your DVDs, the more reliable they are? If so, what's the optimal speed for burning 16x blank DVDs from Fred? Well, Fred, the answer is 16x. So a burn is either good all your data is there, or it's bad. We don't count half a good disk as being good, right, Patrick?
Exactly. And matter of fact, your best shot for making sure all the data is there is use the verify, or sometimes they call it validate function inside your burning software. There should be one in there. If not, it's time to upgrade. If the burn doesn't validate at 16x, then try a lower speed. You might have gotten some cruddy media. Basically, it's like a combination of the media, your machine, the software you're running, and maybe the influence of the moon's gravitational pull. Make sure your software and your firmware on your machine, or firmware, not firmware, is up to date. Firmware.
And try not to run too many apps at one time, I would also say, because while you're burning, Fred, though the late model PCs and Macs have more than enough juice to kind of handle, but I know that when I burn something, that if I'm also doing an application, everything just gets bogged down, so it's just cut down on the apps.
The whole buffer underrun concept is not dead, even though it should be.
Okay, so email number 2. I have info on a bunch of raw hard drives that I still need to access, but I prefer not to have to buy enclosures for every single one. What can I do? By the way, most of the drives are IDE. From Chris, Nashville, Tennessee. I have no idea.
Okay, so you got an IDE drive. This is your classic external case. Sometimes they're 50 bucks, sometimes they're 10 bucks. But it gets expensive. You have like a half dozen old drives. Video professional too. They'll have like a single project on a drive. The drive will be full. It gets expensive. What you need is a USB to IDE adapter. They make them for serial ATA, and rumor has it for some SCSI drives. This is a Weebtech combo dock. These are pretty expensive. They're kind of like the Cadillac out there. For 20 bucks, you can basically get something. It's got the IDE connector in. It's got a USB connector or a FireWire connector out, and you basically just plug your drive into it, access the information in your computer, unplug it, put it in a drawer, closet, or wherever you keep this giant collection of old drives.
Nice.
It's fun. It's easy.
Nice. And number 3, are there any tools out there that can reinitialize, format USB memory sticks? I have had to return 4 ATP tough drives in different sizes. They just die. I don't want to keep waiting 4 to 6 weeks for the replacement to get there. Justin, Fort Huacucha, Arizona. Is that right?
Hiawatha, Arizona.
Hiawatha.
Justin, we're going to need a phonetic spelling on that one. And first of all, ouch. I've never had a USB drive fail. I've been pretty lucky.
Wow, very lucky.
And certainly not 4. ATP's tough drive has a pretty good rep. Now, he mentioned he's got a Memorex that keeps on ticking. That might be a hint to just give up on the ATP drives and stick to the Memorex drive.
And ATP does have a free utility for the tough drive that can do partitioning, low-level wipes, etc. You can download it from ATP Electronics website in the support section.
Now, that said, USB drives, they show up as hard drives on your Mac, your PC, or Linux box, which means you can use the built-in drive tools to format, partition, or error check those drives. Anything that works on a hard drive should also work on a USB drive or even a memory stick. Or, excuse me, I should say like a camera, like a flash memory card.
I gotcha.
I'm with you.
I gotcha.
Oh.
Well, so many questions answered.
And so many more. If you got an email question for us, email us, techzilla@revision3.com.
And that's it for this week's show.
I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Jessica Corbin. See you guys next week.
Big thanks to GoDaddy for reaching out and sponsoring TechZilla. If you want to make an impact online, do it with GoDaddy.com. .com names as low as $1.99, plus world-class hosting, fast and easy website builders, and much more. Enter code TECH5, TEK5, when you check out and save an additional $10 off any order of $40 or more.
Okay.
How do you get freckles back there?
Back where?
Back here. Anyway, go on.
But the vehicle did manage to obey all California driving laws. Dave, man. Where's the gaffer's tape? Gaffer's tape for Dave.
A year old, but still in beta. I don't know what just happened. And that was amazing. Wasn't that amazing? Patrick, email.
That was amazing.